Hey guys, Fix It John here. We got a flat tire on this mountain bike, and we need to take this tire off and put a new tube in it. But in order to do that, you've got this to get this bike tire through these brake calipers here. We need to release the brake, and to do that, you'll want to squeeze these brake calipers together with one hand and pull this mechanism up here. And that releases the brake calipers. As you can see them swing out. That way the tire can go through them. Here's the tire, and you'll want to pull the tire through the brake caliper. And after you install the new tube and air it up, it's going to be even harder. So you want to make sure you unhook this mechanism here. This will be true on a lot of bikes. Most bikes will have this mechanism. Some of them won't. And you'll probably have to unscrew this cable here. Hey guys, Fix It John here. We're going to change a tire tube on this 21 speed. I know it sounds intimidating, 21 gears, but pretty much all you have to do is derail the chain and take the tire off. Pull it back, turn it counterclockwise, holding this nut over here with your hand. What you'll want to do is, here's the chain, pull the sprocket up, pull the gear mechanism back off this rear sprocket. The only thing I'm fighting with is the tube and the tire in between the brake system. So I'm going to show you how to install a new tube. If you get this box here, and some other ones send you these tire tools, they're also called tire levers. And some tires you may need it, others you don't. But what you do is you take this is to get it on, get your tube off. It's got like a little hooked in there. You take your hooked in, and put it in here, and then you take the other hooked in and just snap it into your spoke, and that'll hold that. Now what you do with the other, you take the other one. I can just pull it right off with my hands, but I know there's some tires that see how that's on that spoke. So other pry wrench or tire tool, I call it a tire tool, they're calling it a tire lever, and you go around and just pull it off. This one here you don't need it, but what you would do, and to put it on, you would put hooked end down. Make sure you're not on the tube when you're putting it on. So hooked end down, that'll slide it down. Come around with another one. So we have our tire size is 26 by 1.95. This tube is 26 by 1.9 to 2.3. So that's right within the radius. It'll sure fit. So it's pretty simple getting it on and off. You just pretty much dismount the tube from the tire. All right, the next thing you want to do is take your tire off your wheel rim, whatever you want to call it. And make sure it's not a directional tire. Like, it makes a big difference on a bicycle, but it may. And clean the inside of your tube out. Make sure there's no metal or glass sticking through it. You can just run your hand down it. So what you want to do is get your tube out. But the first thing you want to do with your tube is pump some air into it. That way it'll fit into the tire a lot easier. You don't want to overfill it. You just want to get it to where it's accepted some air. Just enough to give it some rigidity to hold itself. See there? It's just enough rigid to hold itself. You can still bend it, twist it, and whatever you need to do to it. But We like it like that. That way when we put it in the tube, it's not flopping around. It's going to hold itself in the, or when we put it in the tire, it'll hold itself in the tire. You'll notice it's got a rubber ring around the rim. That's to keep it from puncturing on your spokes. Rubber ring here, it covers the spokes. See that little tiny screw up in the spokes? That's what it covers, so the inner tube doesn't rub against it and puncture a hole in it. So I like to start with the valve stem hole. Anybody can do this. And just work it on all the way around it. And you can move it back and forth. If it's cocked, you can slide it this way or that way, the valve stem, so keep it straight. So we're just going to work it all the way around this rim. Good. That's all there is to it. Now before you apply any air to it, you want to look all the way around your tube. Make sure it's not, the tube's not sticking out, the tire sidewall's not sticking out over the rim. Check this side. And keep working your valve stem up too a little bit. Make sure it's all the way up. Now there was no pressure rating on the tube or the box, so I'm going to go with the pressure rating that the tire calls for. And the PSI that the tire calls for is 35 to 65 pounds. I think I'll put about 50 pounds in it and call it good. That's 50 pounds. Put the valve stem on. Always remember to put your valve stem on. And what that does is keep the dirt out of the valve stem, so when you go to put air in it again, you don't get dirt hung up in the valve stem and cause it to leak. So you want to pull that gear mechanism back. You want to work it down in there until the axle saddles into the bolt. We worked the axle down into this little axle sprocket holder. You need to hold this nut here when you're tightening the other side. You don't have to line this up; it'll fall right into place. See the brake calipers down here? So there's no worry about lining up the gears. They just fall right into place. So the only thing we have to do now is reattach the brake caliper. So last thing we got to do is reconnect the brake caliper, and that's just simple pinching these calipers together and moving this mechanism up in its locking position, and voila, there it is. Brake calipers back together, she's ready to ride. Hey guys, Fixin' John here. I'm back to putting another tube on this tire, and it wasn't from a lack of not knowing how to do it. I rode it one night and it lasted, and the next day it came out and it was flat. The front tire, I put it on, and it before I filled the tire all the way up, it blew. Two of the three of these have already went bad, and they're supposedly Goodyear, 30% thicker. Yeah, it's right here. Teeny split right there, guys. Around the block one time. Yeah. Just a teeny split in it. And but I couldn't wait. I want to ride my bike, so when I went back to Walmart, I got these bells. So I'll do a little review on the bells and see if they're any good. They appear to be a little thinner than the Goodyear, but we'll see. They may surprise me, but I got this, and want to go on a decent bike ride, so I also bought me a bike pump and a spare tube. Wouldn't you know it? So I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I'm not getting paid for this here or here. 1 out of 3 of these worked so far, still working. I thought maybe I'd pinched the first one and it just blew up, but no, it just popped on me. And the next one I put on this tire here, it rode good. I just went around the block once and it popped. So hey guys, Fix It John here. I'm gonna make this a mini review. It's not the best review in the world, but it's gonna be a little mini review. So I ran down to Walmart and bought 2 of these boxes of inner tubes. And 2 of the 3 that I bought, they both popped within a day. One of them popped right away as I was filling it up. The other one popped the next day as I rode around. So Goodyear 26-inch heavy duty junk. The bell, I went back down, I took that back, and the bell, it went on perfect, blew up perfect, and I rode 63 miles round trip from one end of the county to the other. Didn't have a problem. I looked around on some websites, and this is a real inexpensive tube. I think I paid almost $7 for the Goodyear. This here was like $4.99. Hey guys, Fix It John here. I'm back with this Bell inner tube. I went on that 63-mile bike ride, and it's held air ever since Friday, and that's been 3 days. So I took it on another ride today, just around the block with the wife, and coming back it went flat. Now Hey guys, Fix It John here. This is my Redneck review on Sunlite inner tubes. I read some good reviews on them. I wanted to do a review on the Schwab inner tube. I think these were like $7.99 on Amazon. I think it came to like, no, $17.95. So $17.95. We spent almost $9 for each one of these. You got 2 of them, 1 for a spare. I did want to do a review on the Schwab because I read a lot of good reviews. They weren't so well advertised as far as they do use a lot of them in wheelchairs and stuff. Sunlite does make a inner tube that is extra thick and for trail riding, and all I do is street riding. I don't do any trail riding, so I didn't want the extra weight. I figured a regular inner tube should do the trick. It said it was pretty heavy, but I'm hoping that the Sunlite, made in Taiwan, not in China. Typically things made in Taiwan are a little better quality than China. The Bell inner tube that went flat after a week. You know, I did put 60 miles on it, but the next week it went flat. Here it is right here. It's got a hole in it. That's no good. The Goodyear, 1 out of the 3 of them I still have on my bike, and it's been probably a month or so. A couple months. It's been a couple months. So I thought I would try this one. You know, I'm not looking for a high-speed, light-duty tire. I just don't think I should have to buy something extra heavy-duty for it to work. And I think what's happening is their quality control is so bad with these inner tubes that a lot of them don't work. I do like the valve stem. It's a little bit longer. I think it's 40 millimeter, 48 millimeter Schrader valve. So it's a little bit longer and easier to get to. So this is my Redneck review for this tube. If you notice here, this is a directional tire. See how it's angled here? This tire is designed to be put on one way, so it rolls with the grain. I mean, it's not that big a deal. I mean, you'll get a little more road noise and it'll wear a little harsher if you put it on backwards, but it's not as critical as like a motorcycle or a car tire. Most car tires aren't directional, some are. Most of them. Hey guys, this is Fix It John. This is my how-to video slash Redneck review on how to install bike inner tube with the Sunlite inner tube. It's been a couple months since I've installed it. Probably have 100 miles on it or so, and it's still holding air good. So one thing I wanted to point out to you on this tire, I told you it was a directional tire. See how it points forward a little bit? How these grooves are angled here, and the sidewall are sort of angled back. That's a directional tire. That's what I meant by a directional tire. So you'd want to install it facing forward. As far as the Sunlite inner tube, I've really enjoyed it. I have no problem with it at all so far, and it's been a couple months. So if you guys like this how-to installation on the inner tube plus my slash Redneck review, give me a thumbs up. Appreciate you watching.